Hi. Okay, well, we're back. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare and prep a pot roast that will sit overnight. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you the ingredients, and we're going to, one by one, start adding them in these bowls and start marinating this pot roast overnight. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. So this is what we're going to be using. We got your soy sauce, and we have this stir fry, and we have some orange juice, and we also have some Worcestershire sauce. We have some HP original sauce. We also have this greeny mustard, going along with some no salt beef broth, and we also have some Dijon original mustard. Now for the spice, of course, we're going to be using this Kirkland's organic no salt seasoning, going along with some Mrs. Dash. This is herb and garlic. We'll be using some ground ginger, and then we'll be using some ground pepper. Now we have ourselves in the back a whisk. We got ourselves a bowl, and we have another bowl which we're going to be putting the stuff in. Earlier this morning I prepped up some minced vegetables that are going to go on top of this beef roast. One other thing that I'm going to show you here, we have 1 cup in front of me. Along with that 1 cup, we also have a 1/4 cup. Along with that 1/4 cup, we have 1 tablespoon. And these are the 3 items you're going to need, basically, to get this all done. So now we're going to do this to the best of our ability, showing you how all this takes place when we're making it. So I'm going to try to sit this down so you guys can see what I'm doing, and we'll take it from there. Alright, so now just give me a second to pre-prep my camera light, and then we should be good to go. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to try to stay above as to where we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one here, which is the 1/4 cup, and I'm going to start adding stuff into the 1/4 cup. We'll start with the orange juice. So you take some orange juice, and of course you got to put it in. You want to get quite a bit in there. The whole 1/4 cup would be great. It's going to give it a nice flavor. Okay, and you dump it into your bowl. Okay, so now we can eliminate the orange juice. So now we got that going on in there, so that's good. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to take some of this HP sauce, and we're going to add that to the bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up, of course, and put some inside the 1/4 cup. Make sure you do proper measuring to all of this, because this is what's going to season that beef and marinate it perfectly. Alright, so we're going to go like that, and then we're going to take the beef and we're going to go like that. So now we put that inside with the orange juice. Now you want to make sure that you get every inch of it out, like so, or as much as you can. Another thing you can do is you can reach over and grab yourself a rubber spatula and get right in there, because you don't want any of this to go to waste. This is very important when cooking any type of food. You got to make sure you use everything up. It's very crucial in cooking, especially when you're going to kitchens or stuff like that. A lot of the chefs are going to be very critical that you don't waste food. So we're just going to clean this sucker up here. Okay, so now we got that going on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this stir fry mix. It's a stir fry sauce, which is actually really flavorful. Now, you may not have to add all of it, but add what you can. Don't do a lot, because it is really, salty. but I'm going to add some, because that's going to give it an extra kick, and it's going to help tenderize the meat, because I've learned in the past that sodium, for some reason, is a great meat tenderizer. I don't know why, but it's true. Now you're going to grab your soy sauce, and we're going to take that too. You take your soy sauce, and we're going to pour some soy sauce in here, and we're going to add that to the mix. And we just dump it in just like so. Okay, so now we're done with the soy sauce. So we're finished. We're done with this stir fry. We're done. And now we're going to take a little bit of this. This is Worcestershire sauce. I'm not great with my names, but I'm working it. Now I've got to figure out how to open this thing. Oh, here we go. Alright, so I'm going to pop this open. We're going to add a little bit of this to this same cup. Okay, so you're just going to add. And put a little bit of that in there. Alright, so that should be good right there. Okay, so we're done with this now. The Worcestershire sauce can go wherever it's going to go to town. Christmas. Okay. Alright. So we're doing good so far. Now what you want to do is you want to take your Dijon mustard, and you want to add that to the batch of what you're doing. So you add about a full tablespoon of that, which is going to be delightful. Okay, and you can seal that up. We're done with the Dijon mustard. Then what you want to do is you want to take your grainy mustard right here, and if your one does not fit in there, that's fine. You can grab yourself a teaspoon, okay, and a teaspoon, and you can add it to the 1 cup. So you just want to make sure you measure out exactly the 1 cup, 1 tablespoon I mean, and that looks like suffice there. Drop that inside with this mixture of orange juice and everything else that's going on. Okay, so now we got that going on there, so that's a bonus. Alright, so now we got those things going on. We're going to put this grainy mustard off to the side because we're done with it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this beef broth. Now with the beef broth in these containers, make sure you shake it up really good, because you want to mix everything inside. Now the beef broth, you're going to add a full 1 cup of this stuff. And then you can add 1 cup of water later to it after you do the 1 cup of beef broth. So you're just going to pour it out till you hit the 1 cup mark. It comes out a little slow, but that's okay. It's where patience come in. You're going to fill that up to 1 cup. You're going to dump that in. Whoa. Okay. That thing is quite loaded. Alright. Now, I might have to transfer that, so just give me 1 second here. Okay, so this is quite a loaded gun. So we're going to transfer this over to here. All of it. 29 yards. Okay. Now that we're doing a transfer from one bowl to another, you have to take a rubber spatula and make sure you get all the ingredients that were added the first time. Because again, I say, waste is not good. Not good at all. So I'm just gonna, there we go. Alright, so now we got everything transferred over. I'm gonna take the bowl and put it into the sink. Now what you're gonna want to do is, you want to go and take your whisk, and you're going to want to whisk vigorously all these ingredients, and you want to really mix it up good. You want to get a good whisk. Alright, so there we go. So now that should be ample mixed. Now what you're going to actually do is we're going to get off and just realize we're going to need a little bit of flour. So I'm going to quickly scoop away for a second and I'm back. Okay, so we're going to be using some whole wheat all-purpose whole wheat flour, a little bit. And now we're going to get to the main meat and potatoes of this dish. So please come along. We're going to travel on over here now, and we're going to get to the part of the pot roast. So I'm just going to prop you up so that I could show you how I'm prepping this pot roast. Just to let you know, this is a preparation on getting pot roast ready for cooking the next day. So today's Friday. We're preparing pot roast now, and then tomorrow morning we're going to put it in and slow cook it. So what you want to do is you want to get your hands, because your hands are important, and you just want to dust a bit of the pot roast with some all-purpose flour. Now, that's just going to help it out a bit and give it a little bit of flavor that I find. And it works really well. You want to make sure you get it all over. Don't miss anything of this pot roast. Make sure you really coat it with the flour, like so. Okay. This flour is going to help this pot roast because it acts like a glue, right? It acts like a glue. So now that we got this pot roast all floured up, which acts like it's glue, and it's going to create a flavor base because the flour itself will eventually die, and it's going to go and suck up all the juices and give it some serious flavor. Now we're going to take our liquid right here, and now we're going to dump this all over top of this roast. We got to make sure we get every inch of the roast. Don't leave any of it out. See how the flour is kind of molding the juice? As you could see. So now you want to make sure that this thing is marinated all the way around. Side to side, back and front, front and back. It's almost like an egg wash, right? And you want to make sure that you get every inch of this roast covered with this marinade. Alright, so we got that part going. That's great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our... Alright, this is what I did. I took this guy here. I measured out 1 cup, 1 tablespoon. That goes in there like so. Okay, now we're going to take the Mrs. Dash, follow suit. Okay, exactly 1 tablespoon, and dump her in. Now we're going to take some black pepper and measure out what we can. Now, you don't have to use all of it because it will get a little spicy, but I use a little bit less than the 1. Dump that in and tap it so you can get all the granules out. Now we're going to take some ginger and we're going to dip this whole thing in here and grab exactly the 1 tablespoon of ginger. Dump that in there. Okay. So now what I do is, because saving from dirtying everything, I just take the back of this and I just give this a little stir. And you want to make sure it's incorporated all the spices and blending everything. Now, one little thing I forgot to give and put, which I will in 1 second. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to bring that pot roast back. We're going to take this little guy and we're going to just move it off to the side. Okay, and we're going to bring this pot roast back. Now it's in front of me. I have here a little leftover extra coffee, and we're gonna just add a little bit of that onto the pot roast. So that liquid that's sitting in the pot roast, that's gonna basically flavor the roast, and it could be your gravy. Yes, homemade gravy. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our seasoning right here, and we're just gonna lightly coat. As you're dropping the seasoning on, make sure you're keeping track on what you're dropping. Now, this is where it gets really messy. You want to rub in the seasoning and make sure it's evenly spreaded around this roast. Okay, and then we're going to flip this over. And, you know, again, it's a messy job, but this is how, you know, you got to get her done. And you just get her done accordingly to the messy job. And we're just going to go and season this all the way around. Got to make sure it's coated. Okay, you can't leave none of it out. Alright, I'm going to flip this way. And we're going to season over here. Okay. So we get a good enough coating. Okay. Done. So now that we got this thing seasoned, I'm going to show you what's going to happen last. Let that sit. So you take your saran wrap, like so, and you layer it over top of your roast. This is a very crucial part of the process. And you cut off your piece of saran wrap. Get a very good coating of saran wrap, please. Very important that you coat this thing and tightly seal this up. Gotta go around, take your time. Very crucial that you get a good seal in the wrap. Okay, so you get a really good seal. Awesome. Now that she's wrapped, she is sealed. She ain't going anywhere. Great. You take your lid and you put it over top of the roast. And you give it a little push, just so that it goes down. Okay. So now we have a secure seal of the pot roast. This will go into your fridge for about 24 hours. You want it to rest overnight. You want it to soak up whatever's in there, the flavors, the juices, the marinades, and all that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it inside the oven. Most pot roast, I'm pretty sure to go in for about 45 minutes to an hour. So you let the pot roast go in there for about that or longer, depending on the oven that you have. On top of that, one other thing, you can put celery, carrots, potatoes, any vegetables. You want to cut them rustic. So rustic basically is cut them larger than normal, and they're bigger chunks, and they'll cook with the marinade. The marinade, actually, when it's in the oven, it will be bubbling and cooking and aromatizing the steak, pot roast, I mean. Oh, that looks good. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to set up our camera here so I can show you what the next steps to this beef is. Awesome. Okay, so we got the beef. It actually been marinating for a good 24 hours. That's overnight. Now, what we did was we'll move the beef off to the side. is we chopped up very rustic vegetables, carrots, potatoes. We got garlic. We got a lemon wedge. We got some mushrooms. Also inside, we have some celery stalk. And to top it all off, we got some green onion. Very nice and fresh green onion. This is going to be your thing that'll go around the beef. As you took off the saran wrap, now you can actually take that and not waste it. Now you can cover your vegetables. So this beef will be going for a good 2 hours in the oven. And we're going to preheat the oven to about 350. So we're going to move these vegetables off to the side. I'll grab the beef here. Just like so. Okay, so now we're going to go over to this oven and we're going to get that started. Alright, here we go. So, here's your oven here. Now, as you can see, you have the different choices. We're going to bake. We're not going to broil. We're not going to convection bake. Just bake. So, we're going to hit the oven. Bake. That's going to set it. And 350 is the temperature. So, we're going to preheat this oven, as you can see. This is a Frigidaire gallery, so it's a very great oven for cooking. But if your oven's a little different than this one, then just make sure you check your temperatures and anything else you need. Make sure your oven is cleaned out. There's nothing inside when you're turning it on. So now we're going to let that preheat. We're going to come back to our beef. Now we're going to explain what we're going to do with this quickly. You want to baste the beef before it goes into the oven. So we're going to come around here. We're going to grab some of this juice, this liquid. And you want to pour it on top of the beef. Because that's what's going to make this ever so tender. Now, best thing to do with the beef is every half hour, you want to marinate this beef. Like this, like I'm doing. You want to baste it every half hour as it's cooking in that oven. So you got to make sure you do this, because that's what's going to keep this meat very tender. This is a pot roast, so we are going to do this for about 2 hours. You want to cook it in the oven for about 2 hours on low, because you want it to take its time, and you don't want to overcook the pot roast beef, because then it could be very chewy. So we're going to put this lid on top. Before we do that, we're just going to clear off any excess stuff around the edges. Make sure this whole area is cleaned off. Your fingers will get dirty, but that's the beauty part about cooking. Nothing stays clean. So, now that we have the beef, it's ready to go. We are going to go and get her in the oven shortly. Now, we need to wait. Let's go back to the oven. We need to wait until this oven is ready to go at 350. Once it's ready to go at 350, then we'll be set. So right now, the oven is on 150. So we got to get it to 350 for it to work. And that's going to be the easy part. So I'm going back to this beef just to quickly show you. That's what it looked like yesterday. And it's been marinating for 24 hours. And we got our vegetables on the side, ready to go. Rustic, big, and large. So we're going to get those vegetables in there an hour before the beef finishes. So cook the beef for 1 hour. And then after the 1 hour, you're going to throw in these vegetables for the last hour. And you should have a very good meal that'll last you a good couple days, depending how hungry you are. We are now sitting at 185, 190, so it is climbing. Once it gets to about 350, we'll be good to go. And you're going to cook this for about 2 hours. So, 2 hours. This is going to be good. Just waiting for this oven to preheat. and then we're going to throw it inside and get this beef going. Every half an hour you got to baste the beef. So you can use a baster, or we here are just using a very basic but simple spoon. And it's that easy. You just take the spoon and you baste it. And I could show you what basting is kind of like. Grabbing the juices and pouring it over top, just to baste it to keep it moist. I guarantee you, and I stand firm behind this, your beef will fall off the bone or fall off whatever it's on. That's how good this beef is going to turn out. It's going to be fantastic. Fantastic. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Now, I am starting this beef kind of early because I do have a Edify event to get to. But here are your vegetables once again. Let's go over to this oven and see what we got going on. So the oven right now is sitting at about 260, 265, and it's about 908. So you got to make sure you clock exactly 2 hours. Once we get the beef in, we are going to go and put a timer to it, and it will go off exactly 2 hours. There's your beef. That mixture on top was some mushrooms, red peppers, green onion, and yellow pepper. And that was the mixture on top. That was left over from yesterday's breakfast. And that's what we put on top of the beef, and it marinated all night with it. So it's going to be really good. As for your vegetable mixture, we got green onion, we got celery, carrots, potatoes, lemon wedge, mushrooms, and garlic. And you're going to cut these large chopped, or we call it rustic. The reason being is it's going to go around the perimeter of the beef. It's going to go around the perimeter of the beef. All the way around as you're going to lay it out. And it'll cook around the beef, which will be really neat. So we're just going to go check our oven again. Got to make sure it's it's 320. We're almost there. So when your oven gets to 350, then it's ready to put your beef in. And at that moment in time, you're going to start setting your timer. And then, so once the beef is done, because I won't be here, but just to give you the heads up as to the end of the product, once the beef is done, you want to turn off your oven and let it sit in there. It's fine. It ain't going to destroy or damage it. It's just going to keep it warm. And you get ready to serve. You got to let it rest. Always let your beef rest for a few minutes. Very crucial that your beef will rest. Here we go. So we're at 150, 350. So the oven's ready to go. We're going to go over here to the beef, and we're going to do this two-handedly. So first things first is open your oven door. Okay, oven door is open. Ooh, that's quite hot. And take your beef. Here we go. Pop the beef inside the oven. Do not burn yourself. If you feel the heat's too strong, make sure you wear an oven mitt. Close up the oven door. And now we're going to set the timer. See this? That's called timer. Okay. Sorry, it's a little blurry. Here we go. So we're going to push this called timer. And now we're going to set the timer for exactly 2 hours. And we're just going to let this climb. And then what will happen is this will go for the 2 hours that we're setting the timer for. When the 2 hours are up, the timer will go beep. And then you'll know your beef is ready. So it's a handy little thing to have on an oven. If you do have one, please use it. It's worth it. Or buy yourself a timer. So we're already at the 1 hour mark. There we go, 2 hours. As you can see, now it's counting down. So we got the beef in at 350. We got the timer set for 2 hours. And we got our vegetables here. And what we're going to do is that's what we prepped up ahead of time. We are going to, about an hour into the cooking process, take this beef, take these vegetables, and throw them in the pot, the pot roast pan with the beef and stuff, and they'll cook alongside with it. We're going to keep basting that beef for about every 30 minutes just to make sure it's moist. And that should be about it.